All right, so how do we know? Diva's lying. All right, so nobody's on here yet, so I still wanted to, I didn't really have time to edit anything this week, and I wanted to just kind of tell you guys, you were like having all these questions regarding Bobby Mackey's, and I really just wanted to let everybody know that I was fine. After I did the video, I did have a bunch of weird things that were happening, and it wasn't done on purpose. Obviously, I didn't know that anything was going to happen after I did this like super, video about Bobby Mackey's, and I think that I'd had an attachment for a while when it first happened. And what's up, guys? And I just wanted everybody to know that I think that when you go into places and you get attachments or something follows you home, I feel like there is some sort of, I want to say like umbilical cord that gets connected like automatically, immediately. And when you meet that entity that attracts to you and follows you, I feel like they always have some sort of a super highway to get to you. So that's why I wanted to kind of go live tonight and just, address that with you guys. What's up, Australia? What's up, everybody? I'm glad you guys came on. Sorry we were late. I had a mess going in my living room because I'm home tonight. So everyone was worried about me. It really only happened for like that night when I had posted that, or when after I finished doing the video, I went home and had all of this weird stuff happening. And the night that it had followed me home from Bobby Mackey's, like I rewatched the video like you guys, and I was like, oh my gosh, I really played that off like cool, like I wasn't upset, it didn't stress me out. And that was pretty rough. It was pretty bad because, and I kept saying dominating in the video, but it was like it wanted to own me, was the energy of it. And that's what scared me, is that I really feel like it kind of treated me like I was one of the dancers or one of the cocktail waitresses that worked for them, and that it wanted to like own me. So that was the feeling that I got, and it was like it did own me, and I hated it. It made me feel really uncomfortable and kind of like sick at my stomach. So the other night when I started having really weird stuff happen after I had taped the Bobby Mackey's, I was like, great, this is like the last thing that I needed, So anyway, I didn't know if any of you guys had questions about it. I know a bunch of you guys were worried about me. Has anybody that's on now been to Bobby Mackey's? Does anybody want to go to Bobby Mackey's? I mean, even without hearing my story side of it, you know what I mean? Can't believe we're doing this live. I've never done this live. It's completely new to me. You want to go? No way, yeah. I wasn't really, the entity's domination was a period attitude. I don't know if it was an attitude, it was the energy. The energy was like, I own you, kind of, like you're mine. And like, it was this energy of, why did you leave? Like, why did you leave Bobby Mackey's and go back to Lexington? You were supposed to stay here. And that was the part that was like, it was creepy. It was like, the energy, I guess what it felt like was an abusive partner, like if you were in an abusive relationship where like this person wants to like keep you tied up in like a basement. That was the way this thing made me feel. The convention's fun. Wait a second. Scarefest is not the same as Bobby Mackey's. So if you guys want to go to Scarefest, Scarefest is fun. Like you have the guy that plays, I don't know if Jason was there. Was he there, the guy that plays Jason? I know that the guy that plays Freddy was there, and Dave Schrader was there that year. And so no, the Scarefest part is fun. The Bobby Mackey's is not is not the funnest. But I really wanted to go. I guess there is part of me that is a skeptic with certain investigations and locations. And, you know, as we all know, Zach made such a big deal and still does to this day about Bobby Mackey's. And I was kind of like, I really need to see what this is about for myself. And it's a really strange place. You guys like my bar? It's very paranormal. Can you see? It's got like Ouija boards. Those are actually placements. Okay, is it working? Sorry, I've got like tech. My tech guys are behind my screen, so everyone's like, it's rolling good. Let's see. Yeah, the domination thing of the energy was bad. And it was weird because a couple of you guys pointed out, if you were watching the video, there was a ton of EVPs that came through on the Bobby Mackey's video. I did call out, I think, just one, and I couldn't understand what it said. Seriously, if I would have sat there for a week analyzing evidence on that video, I would have captured probably way more EVPs. A couple of you messaged me like, oh my God, did you know that at 3:46 I heard this? And yeah, there was a ton of them. I don't think it's affecting me now. No, I don't. I get anxiety thinking about that energy because the night that I came home, after I'd done like filming, talking about it, and yeah, there were a lot of like weird light anomalies in the pictures. You're totally right on that. And the night that I had come home, just from talking about Bobby Mackey's, I had this weird feeling, like if any of you guys that are on are investigators, you probably know what I'm saying. Like, I hate to say that when you think it, they appear, but it's almost this feeling of when you put too much thought into it, it kind of takes you back directly to that location of the investigation. And that's what started happening. It kind of took me back, and I was like, I hope that energy doesn't realize how much it affected me. You know what I mean? And then that night, I'd had several like weird nightmares, like really strange nightmares that I don't even really can explain what they were. It's like dark hallways and like, lower levels. And then like doors were slamming in my house. And you'd go check on a door and it wouldn't be shut, but you knew the direction it came from. I have a pretty big house, but it's all on one level. And there's actually like a guest suite that's behind me. So there's like several doors for that guest suite, and you'd go, so the direction it's coming from, and I'd go over there and there was nothing that had changed or been affected. And I'm like, the thing with Bobby Mackey's is they are tricksters. They like to play a lot of games, with your head, I think. And I think that they also like to try to figure out what your fears are. Like, for example, when I had gone in, I had, my cat just cried, sorry guys. When I had gone in there, I kept having the sensation that there were spiders crawling on me. And I don't really have, can you go get the cat? Somebody get the cat. I had this feeling that there were like spiders on me, and I really don't have like the whole, what is it called, like arachnophobia or whatever. But who likes spiders? Like, who's like, oh, cool, let's hang out with spiders, So when I was walking through Bobby Mackey's, I could feel like there were spiders on me. So I feel like they play into fears, or maybe not even fears, just try to trick you. I told you guys that a few people that were in my group that day were just friends, but they kept tripping on nothing. And like at first we were making fun of them because we were like, are you guys like not paying attention to like where you're walking, and like sometimes you get excited and you'll walk too fast and trip over your feet or whatever. But the more it kept happening, you're seriously looking around, realizing that, yeah, this is a dirt floor on the underside basement of Bobby Mackey's, but it's just dirt. There's not like giant rocks hanging out, to like totally trip and fall. And when you realize it was actually two people in the group that it just kept happening to, and no one actually fell, but I really feel like they play into like fears that you have, like some sort of fear going on. In fact, when Wanda, there were certain spots that she didn't want to go by herself, like the back rooms underneath. I told you guys that Wanda would not walk back there, and I'm still skeptical with certain things, and so I went back by myself, you know? And then upstairs with the Johanna area, that was probably a mistake anyways, because the ladder that goes up to the walkway of Johanna, it at the time, I don't know if it changed, it's like super rickety and probably not the safest ladder that you could be using, you know, to go up there. And no, it's not shut down. It's still going. I looked on, I don't know if it was a website or something, but it looks like there's a paranormal group that is doing the investigations and tours now. So what is Zach like in person? I think I did a video about that one. Hi Nikita, I'm so glad that you're on. Nikita, you guys, has been following me forever, and she's cool. I love talking to Nikita. I'm so glad you made it. Zach is not like he acts on TV. He is, he's really quiet, and, you know, he has admitted to having a little bit of social anxiety, and he is really cool, to be honest. When you have paranormal in common with him, he loves to just sit down and just have like in-depth conversations with people about it. The one thing that I wish he would do more is talk about like his theories that he has, and in the side that I got to get to know him on set with Paranormal Challenge, because he has some unbelievable theories that he's never really shared, and just really cool stuff about the other side. And so no, he's not that, I mean, you guys can probably tell just from his show, in the beginning he was, you know, a lot more aggressive and in your face kind of thing, and now he has kind of stepped it back a little bit, and he seems to be a little bit more sensitive, and he's discussing helping people now instead of like the provoking like he used to do. So no, he's a really good person, to be honest. But you can definitely see a difference between Zach as an investigator, like when he talks to you guys as investigators, and then when you see Zach working with production crews and other producers and camera techs, it's completely different. He kind of keeps both of the businesses separate. So, do I think there's a portal in Bobby Mackey's? I believe in portals. I don't know how to detect if they're legit or not. You know, that's my skeptic side coming out. I do believe that they exist. I don't really know if there's a portal in Bobby Mackey's, as much as there's just a lot of dark stuff that has kind of clumped and cluttered together. And I can tell you for sure, the Stanley Hotel, Callie, she's been on like Zach's show, and she was on Ghost Hunters, and she was on Aftershocks 2 for the Stanley. Callie, I had been friends with her for a long time, and so she'd gotten me in the Stanley a lot for like private investigations and stuff. There is a section of the Stanley where, oddly, there's a ton of swirling energy. And so if you walk into this area, it's kind of like a corner of the hotel. You honestly can feel a ton of movement. And I'm not talking about entities, I'm talking about like energy is moving constantly. Another really cool theory with the Stanley is that it sits on a ton of quartz, like quartz mountains. And obviously they haven't been like dug up, but underneath the Stanley there are tunnels as well. And the workers use them, like the maids and the staff, to, you know, transport things back and forth. So I've been down in the tunnels, and you can see the rocky quartz area. So I think that it is kind of a charging system as well, like for the Stanley. How can I tell the difference between feeling cold and being affected by cold spots? I think that as an investigator, you don't, how do I say this? I don't get cold when I'm getting ready to investigate anyways. I think your adrenaline is pumping, and you're like so excited to go in to investigate that, I know it sounds bad, but you're not really thinking about other sensations. In fact, sometimes I get like hot getting ready to go in. I explain ghost hunting to people like some people play the guitar and they go on stage because they like that adrenaline rush, or some people do motocross, or some people race, dragsters. I explain ghost hunting as my adrenaline sport. So when I go into a location, I obviously kind of try to like get myself to relax, and I usually try to like meditate and get myself in the right mind state first. And then what I'll do is I'll be able to kind of tune into the energy that's around you. But I've had locations too where you go in and you don't feel anything, you don't capture anything. And I don't think it means that it's not haunted. I just think that sometimes energy likes you and sometimes it doesn't want to interact with you. Hi from Denver. What's up to my 303, everybody out there? I have a lot of people from Colorado. I miss Denver. If you could investigate anywhere in the world, where would it be? Oh man, there's too many of those. Let's see. Well, I've talked about, I think the coolest thing still would be following the Jack the Ripper case. And I feel like that is because, I've told you my friend Rory is he's a detective that is in London. So he's so cool. He's a really big skeptic though, but I love Rory. But Rory is like, I will get you the case files to Jack the Ripper. And he wants to go with me actually, because it's still to this day, he's worked in the police force in London for like 12 years. I've known him forever. And still to this day, the Jack the Ripper case file is still unsolved. It's one of the biggest unsolved mysteries of the UK. And I love the UK. I've told you guys that. I love Europe. I'd love to do a bunch of different stuff in Europe. But I think it'd be fun to get the case files with Rory, who's a detective, and literally go with him, trying to not only, kind of uncover the steps of Jack the Ripper on like a real cold case file, but also work hand in hand with him on, like the paranormal side of it. So I think that would be awesome. Have you been followed home, and how do I get rid of it? I get followed home pretty much every investigation. I can't think of when I didn't get followed home. And I'm sure if there's other investigators that are on, they'll probably say the same thing. You get rid of it. It depends on if you want to get rid of it or not. That's just the truth. Ask me about Amityville again in a minute after I answer this. I had an energy that was seriously attached to me from the Stanley Hotel for a very long time. It was attached to me for a couple years, to be honest. It was probably like 3 or 4 years. And this was, I believe the attachment kind of ended after Paranormal Challenge, like maybe a year after Paranormal Challenge. So I started obviously investigating way before I was on the Travel Channel. But I got an attachment from the Stanley. I don't know how. I don't know why. I think when you get attachments or things that follow you home, I can't help but think that there's some sort of a vibration on your energy and their energy that just happens to mesh perfectly well. Obviously, we can't detect that here, but they must, be able to sense that energy on their side. And this energy was a male. In fact, I will get on Instagram after this and I'll post the picture. I would get full-bodied apparition photos of this male in my house. And it was actually terrifying because he looks like, the face when it would come through when I would capture him looks like Jason, the mask of Jason from the serial killer Jason. So it's like a hockey mask. And it's terrifying, obviously. And this thing would give me EVPs. I would catch it singing in my house to music that I would play. And why didn't I get rid of it at the time? Because I didn't know how. Honestly, this sounds crazy because this is my younger investigation mind days. I was afraid to get rid of it. I feel like when you have something that's attached to you for a while, part of you feels bad for it. The other part of you doesn't want to get rid of it because I guess you're used to the energy. I know that sounds like really creepy. Only someone that's had an attachment would understand what I'm saying. When you feel bad for something, when you have an attachment, it's because you're like, oh, what if, was he lonely? And then like, you know, he needed to like hang out with me or something. And what ended up happening, you know, after I was on Paranormal Challenge, I learned so much from so many people, not just, you know, working with Billy and Zach. But I did tell Zach about this attachment. I told a few other people. I talked to Dave Schrader. I love him. I call him one of my mentors of the paranormal. And, you know, their answer was, why would you let something be attached to you? You know, why would you? And then I would explain, well, what part of me feels bad, part of me feels like I'm used to their energy being around. And they're like, but they shouldn't be there. And it took time and mentoring for people to tell me, what are you doing with your life? You know, like, why would you want an energy attached to you, living with you in their house that does not pay rent? And that, you know, it's weird, awkward, and why would you even want that? So, St. Michael. I'm not the biggest religious person, you guys know that. There's certain things I believe from every religion, but, you know, St. Michael is the archangel basically that will protect you from darkness, demons, all that stuff. You need to do research on it to really know, but I started like getting it. Actually, Callie, I'm going to be honest, Callie from the Stanley, we think that we had the same energy coming back and forth between us as this attachment, because her and I started sharing similar stories about this energy, and I think that somehow it was attracted to both of us. I don't know why. And I was like, I can't do this anymore, because it started getting loud. I think it felt like I was letting it take over, and so I did. I got rid of it. I used St. Michael. I told it, you can't stay here, you know, like you cannot be here. It takes a lot of power to tell something to go, like from your gut. You can't just be like, you need to go. That's it. I'll see you later, bro. You can't do that. You have to be like dead serious. You don't pay rent. I'm putting up boundaries. This is my house. St. Michael's spirit guide, come help me remove this energy. And every time I do that without fail, I'll get it out of here. I've actually made my crew mad a couple of times, because in fact one of the instances was, I think it was, did we go to Jerome like a year ago, March? Okay, so not this past March, but a year ago, we had gone to Jerome, and we were in Girthy May in her room. She is a patient that they're not sure if she was getting like sexually molested, and a worker basically threw her over the balcony and killed her, or if she killed herself, committed suicide by throwing herself off the balcony. So she has this really sad energy. She was like, I think 19 or 25, somewhere in there. And so I know her energy because I've been to Jerome so many times. We were in her room, and a completely different energy came in that room, and it got so dark, like pitch black. I couldn't see in front of me. And being honest, I don't have good night vision anyway. Like, I know that's weird, but like as an investigator, I can't see at night at all, like in the dark. And I got really scared. I had this sensation where I was like completely alone, and I felt like I'd gotten drugged down a really dark hallway, and I got really scared. And it was weird. Like, have you guys ever had tinnitus where you're in an investigation and you get ringing and it sounds like you're almost in like a box or something? That's what happened. And I got so scared, I called for St. Michael to come down and help me. And yeah, he did that. And we didn't have any more evidence for the rest of the night. So my crew was like, really, you know, you just like blew a whole night of investigating. And I'm like, I couldn't help it. It was weird. I couldn't see, I couldn't hear. It freaked me out. And at least I know that it helped, you know. But I have been in other locations, like oddly, Bobby Mackey's. My nails are, have you guys seen on Instagram, they're doing the new like, what are they called? Geodes? The geode nails? That's what my nails are. They have like the geode. You have to look it up on Instagram. So that's what it is. But in Bobby Mackey's, I actually didn't discuss and speak a lot during the investigation because I was afraid. Honestly, like the energy made me afraid. So Amityville, do I think it's a hoax? That's a really good question. When I was on set in Jerome, basically, when I don't know if Zach did it on purpose, but he called everybody that he knew, like in the industry, to come to Jerome. So I actually got to meet Chris Lutz, and he was I think he was the little boy from, I get both of the families mixed up. So the guy that killed his whole family, that's not who I met, obviously. I met the younger boy of the second family that came in. He's obviously an adult. I think he's like 56 or something like that. In fact, I have a picture. I'll put that up tonight too on social media so you guys can see. I took a picture with Chris Lutz. He is the coolest guy ever. Chris watched part of Paranormal Challenge. I think he was actually in the room where they were watching us, you know, in Live Nerve Center. Can you get the cat, guys? You don't know where the cat is. Okay, we don't know where the cat is, somewhere in a cabinet. Anyway, so Chris was, I was like, can you tell me the truth? You know, like Amityville is the ultimate place that everybody wants to go. Is it really haunted? And he looked at me and he was like, I'm writing a book. I'm coming out with a book. Apparently his older brother came out with another book. He first started to explain to me that their family has a lot of like drama issues. They want to fight over who has the better story of Amityville, basically. And from what he said, it sounds like the older brother that was the child likes to make money off of Amityville, basically stretching stories. Don't quote me on that. This is just what I'm kind of talking to you guys off the cusp. Then you have Chris Lutz, who said, yeah, there was a lot of crazy stuff that happened, but Chris also told me that he blames his stepfather for a lot of the issues that went on. He thinks that, I guess like maybe he was on drugs or alcohol. He does think that he had kind of tapped into some sort of black magic or doing like satanic rituals. And so he attributes to some of it of his stepfather doing things that he shouldn't have done. And then I'm sure, you guys, the guy that killed his whole family, the first family in Amityville, obviously there has to be some serious mental illness, or, I mean, he claims he was possessed, but he nailed the windows shut and stuff and like killed the whole family. So obviously this guy had some serious issues, right? So that left probably a permanent stain in that house. Do I think blood came dripping down the walls like they said? I think that's a really big stretch, and I've seen some shit. Like, I've seen some serious, like, weird shit happen, but I don't know if that's something that's a legitimate claim. That's just my opinion on it. Oh, thank you for my hair. It needs to be recolored. Let's see. Comments have been blocked from live sci-fi. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with YouTube, guys. I'm so sorry. The lights just flickered. That was weird. Did you get the cat? We're having a hard time getting the cat. It's okay. What is the darkest spirit that I've encountered? That would be, I lived in this really haunted house in Colorado Springs. I want to talk about that story in depth, so I won't be able to go into super depth with that right now because I don't want to get you guys confused. But I had a really traumatic thing happen to me in Colorado Springs. A stranger showed up at my house that I did not know. And this was, this was 2014 when it happened. 2014. I had a stranger show up at my house and block me in the driveway of my home. And it's okay, just let her go. Block me in the driveway of my home. And this person blocked me in my car while I was on the phone with 911. And I was terrified. He was threatening to kill me. Once again, I don't even know this person personally. And so anyway, the police did come. He was arrested. And for some reason, I feel like whoever this person was had such dark energy that basically he dropped that off at my house. Or, I don't know. I'm not going to say he was possessed or anything, because I don't make those claims unless it's something that I'm really certain of. But because I didn't know him and I don't know his energy and I'm not familiar with him as a person at all, I really feel like he dropped off something negative and dark at my house. And I had some horrible experiences in my house at that home until I moved out. And it was just a rental. And the house was already haunted. But this dark energy that he dropped off at my house, because it only started happening after this like life-threatening incident. And I would wake up at like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, and it was like holding me down. It was completely holding me down. Now, keep in mind, 2014, I've already been on Paranormal Challenge. I've already been doing this for, years. So even as an experienced investigator, I was still having a really hard time getting a grip on this energy. I will tell you that it's the first energy that I've ever encountered that I can 100% with certain say that it was either completely demonic or not human, or both, whatever. It was bad. I would wake up and felt like I couldn't breathe. It was not sleep paralysis. It was bad. It was probably the worst thing I went through. Actually, I'm not sorry I went through it, as crazy as that sounds, because when I go through things like this, you have no idea how many people I'm able to help with the things that I've gone through, especially like having credibility of doing investigations and ghost hunting, because I've had so many people reach out to me that have had attachments or dark energies or things happen. And because I've gone through it, I'm able to help them with it. So as scary and as terrifying as that was, I'm actually glad I went through it to be able to help people. It didn't follow me after that. I don't know if I left it in the house. I did have a full-on investigation in that house before we left. It was like the last day of the lease, and I got doors slamming shut. I have some horrible EVPs and voices that came through the PSB7, like horrible demonic voices coming through. In fact, I have voices that came through that claimed that they were stating the names of like demonic energies. And it was terrifying. It was horrible. In fact, I don't know if I've ever had sentences, names, or voices come through that clearly, like all class A. And part of the reason that I haven't posted those publicly is because you're not supposed to repeat demonic names or demon names, because it's bad. And I don't know if I should really be putting that out there for people to listen to. I don't want people to somehow attract that to themselves. You know what I mean? Hello, Arizona. You're not far from me down there. So what else, guys? Any other questions that you guys have? I started having dreams about stuff. Do I investigate cemeteries? Oh my God, I used to go to those all the time as a kid. Like, that's what started this. I had a friend named Kayla in high school and her boyfriend Tim. And they actually, I think I was like 15. Kayla was a little bit older than me. And so she had gotten her license before anybody else. And we would go to cemeteries. I actually got kicked out of a cemetery. Nikita asked me that the other day. Have I ever gotten in trouble while ghost hunting? Not professionally, obviously, but yeah, as a kid, we didn't really get arrested, but we got kicked out. We were like escorted out by the police. We had been at a cemetery, I think it was on Halloween when I was like 15, And oops, like we knew we weren't supposed to be there, so don't do that, guys. Like, do things legally. What do you have advice for new investigators? New investigators, just be careful and try to learn as much as you can. Have a really open mind to finding mentors and working with other people, because not every investigator is going to be the same. I love New Orleans. I would love to go down there. I think it's crazy haunted. I think it would be an absolute joy to go everywhere in the French Quarter and everything else. Do you think the entities are always around you? Do you mean like when you go in to investigate, or do you mean like right this second? Jimmy, I think that was you that asked. I don't think that energies are around me like right this second, unless it would be like my grandmother or something like that. My house is usually pretty freaking clear, to be honest. Is there a place I will not go into? I will never go back to Bobby Mackey's. Nope. In fact, I just like took a big swallow. I was like, ugh. It like gets you in your throat. Yeah, I will never go back to Bobby Mackey's. It's something's wrong with that place. Your video on Mackey's mentioned activity spiking after uploading. How were my pets? You know what? My dogs are so chill. Like, I don't know if they're just lazy chihuahuas, but there's been a few times, like, I have a dachshund chihuahua, so she's got like that wiener dog hunter instinct in her, and she'll bark at the wall. Like, it's only been a couple of times, but other than that, my animals don't really get affected by anything. I don't really let a lot of bad stuff in my house, though. I've always lived here. I've always heard so. Oh my God, the Warrens. Okay, so I guess Lizzie Borden is a big question, and the Warren. Was it Warrens? Isn't that the Warrens? The psychic, Lorraine Warren. I wish Ed was still alive, because I think it would be so cool to meet him. Hey, there's my cat. He's chilling back there. That's Malcolm. Lorraine, yeah, I think that Lorraine would be so cool. I've heard, though, that her health hasn't been the best, and I think that her nephew is John Zaffis, who is from, what is that show? Haunted Collector. I think he's going to be taking over their, like, haunted place or whatever. But yeah, I really think that the Warrens are cool. I've read a lot of their books. I'd love to meet them. Do you believe that the infamous demon starting with a Z? Oh, Zozo? I'm sorry, I'm going to say it because I just think it's silly. I've used a Ouija board a lot, and I've actually used Ouija boards in bad places that a lot of people probably wouldn't use a Ouija board. And I have used Ouija boards in my house, being completely honest. I've had some things come through saying that it's claiming to be Zozo. I'm not saying that doesn't exist, but I think that more often than not, when something like that comes through, it's something either malicious or it's just trying to mess with you and trying to scare you. So I actually kind of do the same thing when I'm using a Ouija board, which is asking my guides or St. Michael to come in and like remove anything negative or bad. Like, I don't want anything negative or bad. If you've ever properly used a Ouija board with people that you trust and you've actually gotten decent evidence out of it, I feel like you can tell what kind of energy is moving the planchette. I feel like if it's something really bad and dark, you can tell, because it tends to be really forceful. Just the movement is really forceful. And I feel like when you're using it with a dark energy or something bad, that it almost answers your questions before you've even finished having it come out of your mouth. So I've called Zozo out, and I've been like, this is not this. Like, I don't buy it. I don't believe you. And it'll go away and stop. So, oh my God, your dog got killed. You're going to break my heart. That's horrible. Terrible people in this world. I do not agree with that. I think animal spirits are super legit. My cat, I used to have a big cat. I've talked about him before. His name was Max. He was this giant, like, panther. And sometimes I can feel him around. Like he would do certain like swirls like near your legs and you can just feel their energy. So I love animal spirits as long as they've crossed over. I don't like it when animal energies are stuck. Like I don't like that. It really upsets me because how do they get out? You know, like how do they move on? So I don't agree when animals get totally stuck. What's another question that I've missed that everyone's been asking? He wasn't paying attention. I need to hire new production staff. Just kidding. Someone asked me if the world was flat. That is not a paranormal production question. I'm sorry, I can't help you with that. You're gonna have to call a historian. Do you believe animals go to the other side? Yeah, as long as they don't get stuck, absolutely. I think that it's possible for anything to get stuck, which upsets me. I don't like that. Do I think religious relics and which ones work better? Well, part of what I sent everybody that was the winners, I did send out St. Michael medallions that were all blessed. So I do believe in those. When I go on an investigation, I always take one with me. What do I mean stuck by energies? I wish I had that answer. That's part of the paranormal, is that we have endless answers. I have heard, which I don't know if this is true, this is just me chatting, which is they say if a person or a child or an energy like an animal gets stuck, I've had psychics tell me that there's a 72-hour window that they have to cross over to the other side. I don't know if that's true, obviously, but I've had multiple different psychics tell me that, and that basically after that 72-hour window shuts, that's when they can't get through and that's when they get stuck. So I explained something getting stuck as in the gray zone. There was somewhere, was it the Hellfire Caves, I think, that Ghost Adventures went in Europe? And there was a dog, I think, that they caught barking like in the caves. That's the kind of thing that I hate. Like, I understand, like the Bordens, they've claimed they've had a lot of people go into Lizzie Borden's bed and breakfast and ask them to cross over or move on, and they don't want to. Like, they have no desire to cross on. But animals and kids, I feel like that's a different subject, because kids may not know how to get help to cross over. I don't even know if it's possible, obviously, but when I'm in a location where I think that a child or an animal is stuck, the only thing I know to do, which still is not a guarantee, is to ask my spirit guides and St. Michael to come down and help this thing get out of the gray zone, is what I call it. Does it work? I don't know. I mean, no one's going to ever be able to prove or disprove that they can cross somebody over, and I don't like people that claim things can be crossed over, so I would never claim that. But I feel like if I'm at a spot where something's stuck, it's going to bother me in my gut if I don't at least try something. You know what I mean? Like, try something to get them out of there. Whether it works or not, I don't know, you know? Do you believe in angels or friendly spirits that help living people? Oh, well, yeah, absolutely. My grandma comes around, like, almost on a daily basis. Like, I know she's crossed over, though. My grandma did not linger at all. My grandma, perm solution. I've told you guys to, if you have family that has, or friends that have crossed over, watch for signs of certain things. Like, in fact, Christian is my friend that killed himself, suicide, about a year ago. And I know when he's around because I'll put like my iPod on shuffle, and all of the songs that I've known with him growing up, like it would be Limp Bizkit and Blink-182 and stuff like that. Those songs don't normally come up, especially if I have like a playlist, and those songs will just randomly start playing, and usually it's in order. And it's like, okay, Chris, like I gotcha, I know that you're here, you know? Yeah, suicide is horrible, or losing family and friends. And sometimes it's not easy even when you're in this field, but in a way, when you're in this industry, because you've gotten distinct proof that it exists, you can't help but totally be upset because you know that this isn't it. You know what I mean? Like, you know that there's so much more that we don't understand that is the other side or whatever. And so I think that, yeah, it's sad when they're gone and they've gone either to the other side or whatever, but in another way, it's like, cool, I know I'll get to see him again eventually, you know? Slender Man, everyone's asking about. Do I think Christian crossed over? I do think Christian crossed over, even though he was probably really stubborn when he crossed over. Sorry, it's my water bottle. I think he was really stubborn when he crossed over. Christian was actually, I think that he identified as like an atheist, and I don't know if it really matters what you identify as. You know, I have people that you guys message me that, oh, I'm Catholic. Is it okay? I believe in the other side. I don't know why everybody has to be defined by a certain religion, you know, in order to believe. And so, yeah, I think Christian, even as an atheist, crossed over. And he was so against, you know, religion and everything else. But I do have a friend named Derek that committed suicide. God, we were young. We were kids. We were like 12 or 13 when my friend Derek committed suicide. He had gotten really depressed. He was getting bullied at school. He didn't have his growth spurt yet, so he had hung himself on his bunk bed. And I think that I have to explain Derek. He was basically like a mini Robin Williams, like the actor. Derek was like the clown. He was like the class clown. And I think that as kids, we didn't realize he had some serious home issues going on, which is why he was funny and tried to be the funny kid. And what had ended up, I was really close with him. What ended up happening was he had tried to tell his little sister, and she was like 3 at the time. He told his little sister that she needed to go to the neighbor's house or something. And she thought he was playing hide and seek. And so after he hung himself, his little sister found him. And it gets me. Sorry, it just gets me. And I don't think he meant for that to happen, obviously. And it messed her up. It messed her up pretty bad. In fact, I don't know for certain, but as far as I last heard, is that she's kind of been addicted to drugs for, you know, the majority of her life because of that. And I have talked to his family. I've gone to his family's home, and his parents were separated, but at his dad's house, his father still has his bedroom the exact same way it was when he committed suicide, which was when we were like 12. And they say on his dad's side, they don't believe that Derek crossed over. They think he's still there. They said that his door still closes, that they still hear him walking, and sometimes they'll hear his voice. His family completely believes that he didn't cross over because his sister found him. Like, he has some sort of like regret or depression that his sister found him. And I don't know. I offered to help, obviously, as much as I could. I have to admit that I think that their family doesn't want him to cross over either. I think that when they lost anyone that loses a child, that's horrific. You know, that's horrific anyways. But I think that they want him there. They feel empty without him. So I feel like because he's still there and leaving the bedroom up the same way for like, 15 years or something, makes them feel better. Do I keep all those possessions? Actually make spirit stay and less willing to cross? I don't think keeping the possessions make them want to stay. Maybe with certain people. I think all energies are different. I think that Derek has a serious regret of his sister finding him, honestly. That's why I think he doesn't want to go. Okay, Slender Man. Everyone's telling me that I need to talk about the Slender Man. I don't know. That's creepy. Like, these girls dragging this other girl into the woods and trying to kill her. And do I think the Slender Man is real? Well, obviously not, like, hypothetically. Like, I don't think, like, I could invite him into my house. I don't think that's the case. I think that, well, obviously there's mental illness going on with the girls, right? But I think that there's energies out there, and it's not just one that's in whatever state that was. Wasn't it like Wisconsin or something? I think that there's energies that like to manipulate other energies or like to portray other personalities or entities. And I think that could be the case of this. When you talk to the girls or you've heard them like on the interview, they're completely convinced, even on medication for mental illness, that the Slender Man is real. They're completely convinced by it. So I don't know if he's still visiting, not really, but I do think that there could be an energy that has taken on that form. Zach proved with Ghost Adventures that there is a super highway, you know, like what did they do it from? Wasn't it Virginia City, Bobby Mackey's, and the Winchester House?
Yeah.
Is that right? I do think that, you know, it's been proven that that exists. That's like what I told you guys when I first got on, that I think that there is almost an umbilical cord that attaches to you and another energy, like the Bobby Mackey's one. I told you after I did filming that I felt it in the house. It's almost like it knew I was talking about it or Bobby Mackey's, so it showed up at my house. I think it's the same thing with the Slender Man or with other things, is that there's some sort of highway. Now you have the internet. You have all of these people that are typing on this, yeah, exactly, like a silver life cord. Isn't it like a Reiki thing where you have to like imagine cutting the cord or something? I can't remember. But in life in general, where we have all of this internet access, creepypasta, hundreds, maybe thousands of people are putting their energy into typing out, you know, long stories and forums about this character. And it's almost like you're manifesting and manipulating energy and forcing it into this character via people and via the internet. Actually, speaking of that, I have a really interesting story about that. When I was hanging out with Callie a lot when she was living in, you know, Colorado, and I was in Colorado because she had moved to Florida for a while. She had started doing like tours, and she was helping with people come inside of the Stanley Hotel. Well, there's a lot of different energies inside of the Stanley Hotel too. But she decided to kind of, I guess it was like a placebo effect, if you will. She decided to make up a story, and she totally made it up on the spot, about a little girl that haunts, I guess it would be the admin building of the Stanley Hotel. She made this up. So when people would go in on tour or do night investigations at the Stanley, she would tell them about this little girl that haunted this house part of the Stanley Hotel. Now, her and I knew that there was no little girl there. All of a sudden, it took a couple months, I'd say it was 2 or 3 months, they start doing investigations inside of this area, and they start getting little girl EVPs, and they start getting a little girl to interact with them. Where did she come from? Is she real? No, not really. There shouldn't be any little girls, you know, in this part of the Stanley Hotel. In fact, that side of the Stanley was known for having Native American energies, and they had never had any interaction with a girl. So, you know, Callie was coming up with this idea that if you get enough people to believe, like the Slender Man, and put their energy into it like creepypasta, can you create a new energy, or is something else taking on the identity of that energy that or that character that you've created? So I don't know. It's an interesting theory. So that's a good topic, is talking about energy after life or death situations, or near-death experiences. I think that you become more sensitive if you've had some sort of a really traumatic experience. If you guys have watched my origin story, I was clinically born dead. So I got mine out of the way, like right when I was born, I got that out of the way. But yeah, I mean, I had wrapped my umbilical cord around my head several times, and they told my mom that they wouldn't expect me to live past like 3 or 5 because I had no oxygen. I basically was dead. I came out blue. And they couldn't even, I was in like the preemie ICU, and then on top of that, I was premature. I was like 3 months premature. And so they didn't think I was going to make it. And they told my mom, even if I did, I wouldn't be here. So I've had a lot of friends say that they think that that contributes to it. I had a friend that had a double lung transplant. He had cystic fibrosis, and he didn't really in tune to energy. And then after he had the transplant, he like felt like he became psychic overnight, and he didn't like it. Like he wasn't interested in doing that. What's up?
Leading tech guy in the paranormal.
What's the best leading tech guy? Okay, who's the best leading tech guy? Are you talking like an engineer or just tech in general?
Who do you think is the most influential on the tech side of things for paranormal investigations?
Who do I think is the most influential on the tech side with investigations? Bill Chappell. I don't know if you guys have watched him on Ghost Adventures, but they haven't announced what he's doing, but I can tell what he's doing. If you notice, like he's starting to do measurements of like barometric pressure, temperatures, using the thermal imaging cam, all the fluctuations with the EMF meters and stuff. He is collecting data. This guy, Bill, is smart. I don't know what he's doing, but he's obviously doing some sort of scientific side of this. So if you notice on all of the episodes that he gets invited with GAC, he is always collecting this data. So it must be some sort of contract that Zach has agreed with Bill that, okay, you can come and help be our engineer, but, and you know, in exchange for taking this data. So Bill, I'm jealous. I am super jealous of Bill because I think that he's got a lot of data that he's collecting, which is what you need on the science side of stuff in order to do a legitimate scientific theory or scientific method. I don't know what he's doing, but he's got something going. So, you know, Bill is so ahead of his time with inventing this stuff. I love the SLS camera. If you guys ever get the finances to get one, they are unbelievable. Like they are completely unbelievable. I haven't even used mine enough, and it's gonna take some time. So they're like $1,500. They're not cheap, but they're great. Have I ever had evil come through the board? I don't know how you would define that. I think I told you guys the time that Blake had been at Fort Carson, and he said that he was doing like a 24-hour shift, night watch, and the elevator in the, not dorm room, what is it called, barracks, kept opening. And it kept going up and down the elevator, and Blake wasn't the only one that saw it. There was like 4 guys that were on staff that night, and they were kind of annoyed because it was like 3 a.m, and they thought, who's playing on the elevator at 3 a.m? Like, especially it's a bunch of grown men that live in the barracks, you know? And so Blake finally decided to go look inside the elevator, and the elevator had been going up and down by itself, and inside of the elevator was this Ouija board that had been like stabbed a bunch of times, mainly in the number 6 and the number 3, and it looked like it had been burned, and it had all of these weird things on it. And so, and like, I think there was like pentagrams, and wasn't there, and like satanic symbols. And so Blake calls me at like 3 a.m. and he's like, yeah, I'm staff duty working tonight, but this Ouija board just showed up out of nowhere, and it's been stabbed and burned. And I'm like, then throw it out. Like don't, you know. And so I don't know why he decided to do this, but he took the Ouija board and then he brought it to my house, and it had been sitting outside my house, and I had no idea. For like 6 months, it was back by the shed, and I don't really think that I had any issues from the Ouija board, but someone had been doing something really bad with it. You could just really tell. If you feel like you have a psychic gift or empath, how do you open yourself up more to it? I think that when you have a gift, you're afraid, right? I mean, I can't be wrong. So immediately when you're scared or afraid, the first thing you're going to do is shut down. So the first thing you have to do is decide where your boundaries are. What am I going to allow to experience and not? For a while I was seeing things, and it only happened a couple of times. It was in Jerome. I kind of figured that it was because Jerome is so strong. That's why I was seeing like people. It only happened with like a little girl and I think was a woman, and it scared me. I'm not the kind of person that wants to visually see an energy, and when I saw them, they were in their death state. So what I mean by that is they were like gory and bloody, and it was when they had died. And I remember, like, I was like, you know what, I'm an empath, and it doesn't always work. I'm not somebody where it can just kick on. Sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes it works. That takes time to develop too. But I told my guides and myself, I was like, I'm putting up a boundary, which is if I happen to see something, I don't want to see it in that state. I don't want to see a human, you know, that's been decrepit and died that way. I can't handle that. So you have to put up your own boundaries, and you really have to, what I told you guys before, figure out your own energy first. Because if you think you're going to be able to, you know, I'm not psychic obviously, but I know people that are. I've met Chip Coffee and some other people. You have to figure out your own energy before you can start inviting other energies to communicate with you. So it's a lot of development as far as just finding your own focus. Seriously. What if you shut down for so long it's hardly noticed and you can't get it back? I don't think anything's ever gone forever. Honestly, I don't think that if you shut it off that it's just gone. Obviously, I had the time that I was working as a cosmetologist until a couple years prior to Paranormal Challenge. I didn't ghost hunt or anything. I was not involved in the paranormal at all. And obviously, I got back into it. You have to start by honestly going to haunted locations if you're wanting to interact with other energies or experience things. That would be the first step if you feel like you've shut things off. Go see if you can experience something somewhere else. Let's see. Is being an empath a stepping stone to being a psychic? I don't know. I don't consider myself even an empath. I've had like executive producers, when I talk to them about when I've tried to sign my series in the past, they're like, well, don't you consider yourself a psychic or an empath? Is it because that's what your ability is? Not really, because like when I see somebody that's had that ability, like Chip Coffee on TV or Chris Fleming, they can like turn that stuff on immediately. I'm not consistent with being an empath. I've had places that I will go in that I'll get pictures and video footage and EVPs, but I didn't feel anything when I was in there. Maybe I don't practice hard enough. I don't know. I don't really want to though, because I'm the science side of it. I enjoy actually finding and developing scientific evidence to be able to back it up. So I don't really feel like I want that ability as much as I have it when I go in. It does help with certain things when I'm led, you know, with my team. Doesn't matter what time of day or night if it's more active. No. Are my lights flickering? Are you guys seeing my lights flicker?
It's the aromatherapy.
Oh, there's an aromatherapy thing. That's what it is. So don't freak out. I think everybody thought something was going on. What else? Is there anything else?
Talk about Twitch, Patreon, and YouTube. So get a consensus.
Yeah, I agree that skeptic is valuable to it. Absolutely. Someone said they saw a shadow in my hallway. I hope not. My phone went off. YouTube, someone had asked about YouTube, I think on Twitter.
Will you be adding more investigations?
Will I be adding more investigations? I'm not going to quit YouTube. I know there's stupid stuff that's going on with YouTube right now. I wish I had answers for that. There's been a ton of, what's it called? What are they calling it?
Adpocalypse?
It's called the Adpocalypse is what it's called. And basically, if you're a small channel, which technically I am because I don't have 1 million followers, they're trying to basically stress out the lower competition, if you will. Like if you have a little channel, which I'm not really little either, but if you have a smaller channel, they just don't want to waste their time on you is what I'm gathering. And so they're taking away views and they're taking away subscribers and all that stuff. I'm frustrated, but no, I'm not going to quit. I will keep doing investigations. I'm going to do a follow-up on the apps video. I am still looking for decent investigators. I'm thinking about trying to recruit a couple of the film students to come in and help me. As far as a lot of people have asked about, is it Patreon or something? Patreon and Twitch, everyone's asking about that. I think that down the road, that would be a good option. If you don't know what those are, Twitch is used as a gaming site. There's a lot of people that know that I play World of Warcraft. Yes, I'm a nerd. Don't judge me. So some people have been wanting to know if I'd get a Twitch account and start like a guild where fans and followers could come play World of Warcraft with me. I've considered it. It's a thought, so it's out there. And then other people are asking if I'm going to set up a Patreon account, which is a ton of YouTubers are moving there. And what it means is you go make an account as a follower or fan. It costs like $5 a month. And then when I get the funds from it, I don't get 100% of it, but then that can help me up my production value. I don't know if I want to do that or not yet, to be honest. It's an option, but it's not going to happen right this second, no. I'm going to stick it out with YouTube for now. Obviously, if I'm going to have a full-blown production going with paranormal, I'm going to shoot to have my own series versus just doing it on YouTube. So it is all about the money with YouTube. Yeah. And you know, that isn't even what I'm about. I just wanted to develop, you know, a community with you guys. And what's making me sad is that I don't like taking away my community. You know, like they're dropping my subscribers. They're like removing my subscribers. And I guess the reason they're doing that is YouTube has hired outsourced companies from like India and other countries, and they are paying them to manage YouTube, and they don't know how to manage it properly. And what these people or these contractors are doing is they will look at your subscribers' accounts, and if the subscriber account looks dead, like they don't like videos and they don't comment on videos and there's no profile picture, then they will remove that person's account as a subscriber because it looks like a fake account. And I know that sounds stupid, and it is stupid, but that's what they're doing. And so I've had a bunch of people that have messaged me and they're like, what the heck is going on? You know, I'm a real person and I got removed. So I wish I had answers for you guys, but it's just YouTube being cheapo, I guess, is what it is. So what's another one that's been asked?
Nightmares and psychics.
Nightmares with psychics?
Mm-hmm.
Like, do I believe in them, or?
I'm psychic, and at night I had nightmares every night. I will see, hear, feel the spirits that are in my house. My house is haunted. How can I avoid the nightmares?
Well, if your house is haunted and you're having nightmares, and you just want to avoid the nightmares, I would want to avoid the spirits too. Like, you can't have one without the other. You're going to have to cleanse the house and get rid of the entities. They're not going to stop the nightmares. You can't just say, I'm going to let the energies stay here, but I don't want to have the nightmares. It doesn't work like that. If something's giving you bad dreams, it's probably not something you want to keep around anyway. So that's just my opinion. Don't let things stay in your house that aren't paying rent. That's seriously, don't do it. If you can cleanse your house and get rid of the energy, you're not going to have nightmares anymore. And don't let it stay there anyways. Why would you want it to stay there? Why would you want an energy to stay that isn't supposed to be there anyways? Make them go on. Let them go on. I think that some people, like even when I had my attachment, I didn't want them to go. I felt bad for saying you need to leave. But they had a life before this. Like, they were a person before chilling at your house. So let them move on to their family. Don't feel bad about it. Let them go on to their family. What's another one?
How would your show different from GAC and Paranormal Lockdown?
How would my show differ from GAC and Paranormal Lockdown?
Yep.
where are the girls at in this industry, man? Come on. Like, where are the girls at, right? I don't know. You know, Amy Allen obviously is probably the most predominant female in the industry, and she's psychic. Katrina, I thought she was gonna have a bigger presence, and she didn't, and that makes me sad. I hate it. I've met with, you know, obviously executive producers, and I've had a lot of executive producers say that they don't think a female in this industry could be a lead investigator. There's really no reason behind it, but they were like, well, the character of a female being a lead investigator is not strong enough for your own series. And I'm sitting here like, I disagree with it, you know? I actually had an executive producer, without naming names, tell me that as a girl, I needed to quit investigating and get back into the kitchen. Verbatim, that's what he said. So, and I'm not gonna listen to it. So obviously my series is gonna differ just because of that. I've had people ask if I would have an all girls, you know, cast as far as like camera techs and other investigators. I'm not opposed to it, but I don't really want to put a gender on who I would have or who I wouldn't have. So it just kind of depends on who you mesh well. You know what I mean? What's another question? Blake? Anything? Yeah, I've had girl video gamers are rare in the same instance too. I do want to do makeup tutorials. I just haven't had the time to do it. Too many. Deja vu. I think deja vu is some sort of weird stain that happens, like, I don't know, I believe that maybe we pre-plan our lives before we get here. And I feel like deja vu happens when you have some sort of instance where you're like, you remember writing that in your life. That's how I feel about it. Because when I get deja vu, like, it makes me happy. For some reason, to me, it makes me feel like I am exactly where I need to be at this exact moment. So that's why I think deja vu is awesome. So I really believe in that too. What's another one?
What do you think of witchcraft?
What do I think of witchcraft? Like witchcraft or black magic?
All of the above.
I don't know a lot about witchcraft or black magic. I've heard people talk about it and stuff like that. I know some friends that actually practice Wicca. The things you see on TV that they try to portray as witchcraft isn't true. It's not actually witchcraft. Usually stuff like sacrifices or dark stuff isn't Wicca. Usually people that are truly of Wicca is about like the grass and the trees and the sun and the moon. It's a little, I guess, hippie-ish is the name for it. So Wicca isn't really bad per se. Like when you're talking about black magic and Satan stuff, yeah, it's bad. It's really bad stuff that can cause some super horrible attachments. What's that? Live stream investigations, that would be super awesome. Send me to the Doctor Island of all the deaths. That would be crazy. I don't know if they're letting anybody go on that island anymore. I don't know how to pronounce Polivia. I'm gonna say it wrong. But yeah, that would be cool to go there. But that's I heard like the Italian government stepped in and tried to like shut it down. Someone bought it though, or something like that. Can you use magic? No, man. I'm so sorry. I have no idea how to use magic. Well, the Dybbuk box is creepy. I told you guys I've ran into a Dybbuk box before, and I mean they're weird. Like I got obsessed with one. It was at an estate sale that my mom was doing, and I don't know what happened, like why I became obsessed with it out of nowhere. I wanted to keep it, and now looking back, I mean, what would I use it for? I don't need it. I didn't really know what it was at the time. when this guy died, he had collections. My mom used to do estate sales, and she'd go in and clear everything out. And they had this divot box, and she ended up having to call in, I think it was like a Catholic priest. And when they came in, they knew what it was. And the Catholic priest took it. She didn't even make them pay for it. And they said that it needed to be somewhere holy or something like that. And even before the priest touched it, they did this like weird ceremony with it. It was like a religious ceremony because they didn't want to take it and drive with it and like something dangerous happens in the car. So yeah, I believe in those. They're creepy. I don't know why I became obsessed with it. So yeah, Suicide Forest is super cool. I would love to go there. I think that's awesome. What's another question?
Salem, Massachusetts.
Salem, Massachusetts. Oh my God, I would love to go there and do a ton of different investigations. I believe in that Salem was just, it's got so much energy around it. Zach and his museum. Yeah, I got invited, as you guys know, but he's been all over, and he's editing, and no, I'm not gonna bug him right now. I talked to him for his birthday, and he's cool, and that was it. And if I get to make it down there, I will. Eventually, I will hopefully make it down to the museum. He also knows, don't fool yourself, guys. He knows if I come down to the museum that it's basically free press on his museum for him. So of course he's gonna let me come down to it. But I don't know if I'm gonna be able to actually film or not. I'm not gonna push it. Just being able to get to go down there and see it and experience it will be good enough. If you could go back in time to history, what time period would you choose? Or is this like a past life question? I don't know. I'm really girly, so I feel like I would be, I guess the 1800s with like the really big dresses and the corsets. I'm not sure about the like really weird hairstyles and like everything up here, with like curly tendrils coming down, but I feel like that would be my era. I've said it before, I feel like I have a past life thing with the UK and London. So I feel like I think that when I go there, and not just like London, but all over the UK, especially like little places like that people don't all go to tourist wise, I think I'm gonna feel really at home if I go to London or UK. So that's weird. Maybe it's just a past life thing. I don't know. And I have a ton of friends that I've worked with in production, like Scotland, London, Ireland. So I think I would love all of those areas. Maria Antoinette, exactly, yes. Black-eyed children, what do I think about those? I've talked about like the guy that theorized black-eyed kids. I don't think he has a lot of credibility, if you ask me. If you look into his the history of him reporting black-eyed kids, he had been going through a hard financial time, and there's speculation that he had kind of made up this story before the internet became so big, and he was kind of looking for like a quick dollar to sell, and he got his story out and sold the story. The problem that I have with black-eyed children is, especially this day and age, we basically live like Big Brother, where there's cameras everywhere. Even at your own home, you have a camera system and security system. If black-eyed children are real and they exist and people say they see them, how come there's no video footage, like real authentic video footage of it? So that's my opinion on black-eyed kids. Could they be real? Yeah, sure, anything. Like I've seen some weird stuff in this industry, so I think anything's possible. But I'm still that skeptic side where I really want to either see it with my own eyes or experience it myself. What did the last question? It was something about death counts. I missed it. Sorry. Twitch and live stream raids. Oh my gosh, that's funny. Raiding, I can tell. You better be for the horde though, because All of my mains are blood elves. I'm sorry. Let's see. Do I believe Amy Allen? I'm not going to say no. I haven't met her in person. I'm one of those people that I need to look in your eyes and determine if you're legitimate or not. And I need to see her in action personally. So, do I think she's fake? No. Do I think she's real? I don't know. I've never seen her work in person. The facial expressions that she uses is interesting, and I've never seen a psychic work that way. I don't understand if they are in haunted locations, why they don't get evidence if they're doing walkthroughs. So that's kind of a red flag that I have. That doesn't make it illegitimate. It's just something that I'd have to meet her to know. The Blair Witch, do I think it's real? Oh man, I remember the Blair Witch. I think I was like in high school or something when that came out. Do I think it's real? No, but I think that the creators of it are so smart. Like Paranormal Activity, the executive producer of that spent $15,000 on like just his house setting it up for Paranormal Activity. And then it like ended up selling like 193 million or something. So the guy that did that is very smart. What was another one? Rituals like in haunted locations? Yeah, rituals affect haunted locations really bad. Bobby Mackey's that room is bad. There's been some really terrible things I think happen in there. I told you that I think that rumor has it that there had been satanic rituals that were allowed inside of Bobby Mackey's even after Zach and the guys had gone there, which I don't agree with. And I think that there's some really bad stuff in there. I think that those are what I said as soul collectors. Yeah, I think rituals are real. All right. Am I sensitive to energies? Absolutely, yeah. I think I'm definitely sensitive to energies. I think that's... But if you're asking me if I'm sensitive, like psychic sensitive, I don't think I'm psychic sensitive, no. Actually, I'm really glad that I'm not psychic because I think that would scare the crap out of me. Have I known anyone that's died and come back? Do I know anyone that's died and come back?
John Tenney?
Or like my mom like had a heart attack, you mean? Or trying to think, do I know anybody? I don't think I know anybody that's died and come back. I don't think I know anybody. I was trying to think, sorry. Your mom gets frozen by spirits at night and you want it to stop. I mean, has she just literally said go away? I know that sounds simple, but seriously, a lot of people are afraid to speak out when it happens. Remember that if you're having an attachment or something around you that you don't want there, tell it to leave. That's literally as simple as it is. Is she praying out loud? I mean, she needs to be very verbal about it. The elevator game, what's the elevator? Is that one of those YouTube games? There's a lot of people that have wanted me to do that. What was that, like the pencil game or something? Like where I've never tried any of those games.
Ghost you would want to chill with.
A ghost I would want to hang out with? Someone asked that. Ugh, who would I want to hang out with?
I don't know.
Who would I want to hang out with? That's a weird question. That's a really good question, but a really weird question. Marilyn Monroe, even though they say that she still hangs out, but I don't know. They say there's all these theories, like she may have been murdered, she may have killed herself. I think that it would be interesting to just see what she would have to say with what happened with JFK and that whole thing that was involved with it. Kurt Cobain would be so cool too. Yeah, absolutely. I think that would be an interesting one, actually, just to get... I feel like Kurt Cobain was very philosophical, and he would have a lot of insight to tell you about life in general. Have you been to No, I've never been there. I've never been to wherever this Virginia place is. Honestly, I haven't been to a ton of places on the East Coast. Have you ever had things thrown at your home from evil? That's a misconception I think that people get. I don't think that everything that throws things at you or violent stuff is always evil. I've had things thrown at me. I've been scratched till I bleed. I've had certain things like that happen, but that doesn't mean it's a demon. That's one thing that bugs me is when some of these shows are like, oh, it's a demon, it's a demon. No, come on, stop it. It's not. There's just really pissed off people that are still lingering. How would you feel if you couldn't cross over and you were stuck? Wouldn't you be upset too? It's kind of the same thing. Okay, I've got about 10 minutes left, guys. So if anybody has any questions, throw them at me. Virginia City, no, I'd love to go to Virginia. In fact, that's actually on the list to go. I've already contacted some of the owners up there, so absolutely, I'll be probably doing an investigation up there. It's only a few hours north, and absolutely, I'll be doing something, and I'll post it onto YouTube for you guys when I catch some stuff. What else was another one? Florida is, yeah, there's the one town, isn't it? St. Augustine is super haunted. I would love to go to Florida for that. Where am I planning on investigating next? Well, let's all hope for Zach's Museum if I get to go down there and experience it. Eastern State Penitentiary, I've never been there, but yeah, I mean, that's one of those bucket place lists again. Isn't that where they were on Aftershocks and there was like, the owners had some weird obsession with it?
Outside the country of Canada.
Do what?
Would you investigate outside the country in Canada?
Would I investigate in Canada? Sure. What's haunted up there? You gotta hit me up and tell me what's haunted in Canada. I would definitely go up there. It would be cold. Part of the reason I left Colorado in snow was because I was over the cold, to be honest. So yeah, I would definitely go up there. My dad lives in Florida. Someone asked if I'd come to Florida to investigate. Yep, my dad lives in Sarasota. I would definitely.
Will you ever do a meet and greet?
Will I ever do a meet and greet? Yes, I have done them before. I actually just got invited to go to some paranormal convention in the haunted city in Colorado. That's by Colorado Springs. What is it called?
Blackhawk.
No, not Blackhawk. What is it? The other one.
Wyoming?
No.
Garden of Gods.
No, it's where Zach did an investigation down there.
Cripple Creek.
Cripple Creek, yes. I just got invited to do some paranormal convention in Cripple Creek. I don't know if I'll go or not. They're wanting me to like do a speech and do a meet and greet, so maybe it's on the list. I have been invited to a few. It just kind of depends on my schedule. Do I have animals? Yes, I do. I have some puppies. Here's one that's very lazy. She's like half asleep. She's the one that does get sensitive. She barks if I have something follow me home. She does get sensitive. But other than that, she just sleeps through it. Waverly Hills. I've never been to Waverly Hills. Darn it. Someday I'll get out there. What's another one? My real name is Krystal Leandra, yeah. Hello, Australia. I love Australia. So fun. Except, you know what, guys? Australia, I would not be down with the spiders that are the size of my head and, like, the gators and stuff. There's a reason I don't live in the South, even in the States. So, do a haunted school. I have been to some haunted schools before. I get sketchy with haunted schools because I don't trust children's spirits because I always have a feeling that it's something malicious. So yeah, I'm not a huge fan of being around it, but I have gone to some haunted schools before. What's that? Favorite haunted location in Las Vegas? Oh man. Do you guys know that literally everything is haunted in Las Vegas practically? Because There's been so many suicides and deaths over the years of people will come to Vegas and they have, you know, all this money that they've saved up, and then they get drunk and they blow all of their money and they have no way to get home. And the most popular places to go kill yourself in Vegas is they'll jump off the side of the like parking lot garages. They'll go to the top and jump off. So yeah, actually Vegas is extremely haunted. Do I have a favorite spot? I've been to so many places. I'll say that, is it Madame Tussle or whatever?
Tussauds.
Madame Tussauds, whatever,
Tussauds.
which is the wax museum on the Strip, is very haunted. And I think it's inside or next to the Venetian. And
Bodies exhibit.
where is it?
Venetian. Outside the Venetian.
Is it outside the Venetian? That place makes me sick. I don't know what's in there, but it makes me really sick.
And the bodies exhibit.
Oh yeah, you know what else makes me sick is the bodies exhibit. Have you ever guys been to the bodies exhibit, which is where they've kind of injected the bodies with plastic? That exhibit makes me sick. They've said that the people that are a part of that exhibit were actually, they were like prisoners and stuff that they've abducted from different countries. So for something about the bodies exhibit, I've just gone near it, not even really close to it. The energy of it makes me sick. So, and it's not about the science side. Like, I think the anatomy part and the thought of it behind it is really cool. But there's something about those that doesn't give me a very good vibe. What's another one?
Wonderbox update.
Wonderbox update. Yep, I have a guy I'm going to interview that has taken it apart and knows the parts and is going to tell me what's inside of it and what it has been created with. And I've had a lot of people message me that it's not worth the price that it is. There's only really been one person that's willing to come out and tell me how it's built, which is fine. And as far as the Steve Huff, I'm still not going to get involved with his drama. Okay, I've got 3 minutes. Yes, I would love to go to the catacombs, absolutely. The only thing that creeps me out with the catacombs of Paris is that underground society of people that they have living down there. I feel like that is more sketchy to me than the entities and being surrounded by all of like the bones. So yeah, that I would love to go there. One day I will absolutely get to go there. What's another one?
Legit phone apps.
Man, I don't know of any completely 100% legitimate phone apps at all. I wish I could tell you guys hands down. I'm still working with some of them to see how they're doing, but I will say that anything that has been created and invented by Bill Chappell is pretty darn good. I've used like his eye obulus and stuff like that. Just remember that it doesn't have an official, you don't have an official EMF meter in your phone. I'm gonna go over what an EMF meter does on an actual video by itself so that we can talk about why your phone isn't a legitimate EMF. But that's gonna take some dissecting, talking to you guys regarding physics. So I'm not going to overwhelm you with that right now. But that is why most of the phone apps don't work, is because they are not legitimate EMF meters.
Do people think you're a witch?
Do people think I'm a witch? No, not really. Oh, you mean because of my house from behind me? No. This is really the only part of my house that is paranormal vibes, I guess you could say. And, you know, I just love it, to be honest. It's because being a producer, being in the field, investigating, is such a big part of my life that I did want an area that represents me. You know what I mean? It just represents me. So when I have friends come in town, they love it. They think it's cool. My friends aren't into paranormal. You know what I mean? Like some of my friends, they're not interested in doing paranormal. So it's not like I invite my friends from Colorado, they come in and we play with the Ouija board. Like that does not happen. But they you know, respect my lifestyle and they think it's cool and it's not pressure. All right, I'll take one more question and then I'm going to go, and I have to go because Ghost Adventures is on. Someone asked what my favorite show was for paranormal. Obviously, it's Ghost Adventures. I will do more live streams. Absolutely, I will. I'm the best looking witch ever. Thanks, even though I'm not a witch. What's up? All right. Have I met the crew of Ghost Adventures? Yep, absolutely I have. Best place in Vegas for pizza? My house. I like to cook pizza. That's super fun. But I'm pretty lame. Like, Pizza Hut's around the corner, so. All right, guys. Make sure you like my video. Make sure you give me comments below. Make sure that you're double-checked to subscribe to my channel. And follow me on social media. I will go... Favorite pizza, pepperoni, duh. I will go post the video or the picture of the entity that I think was attached to me, and I will post the picture of Krystal from Amityville. So I heart your face, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Super fun for my first live stream. I will do it again, and I will catch you guys next time.